how I went from tired, sluggish, and overweight to being able to run half marathons and do triathlons at the age of 45. In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips that have helped me boost my energy from being on the couch, not getting out of bed before 10, 11 o'clock on rest days, to being up at 6 o'clock every morning with a good sleep schedule and have boundless energy all day long. Okay, so tip number 1 is going to be, I use an Oura ring, okay, an Oura ring. And an Oura ring tracks my sleep. There's lots of ways you can do this, okay? But one of the biggest things that helped me was to have a sleep schedule. So it's going to bed at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every night. And I do this on weekends as well. So let me go back a couple of steps. I used to be a police officer. I was working shifts for 22 years. And I didn't have a lot of control over my sleep pattern. But what I did do, I got a routine going in that shift work. So it's 6 on, 4 off, or 7 on, 3 off, whatever it was. But I always tried to do this one thing, which was whatever time I had to get up in the morning, I'd set and I'd go to bed alarm for 8 hours before, which means I would always try and get 8 hours sleep regardless of my shift pattern. So if I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would set an alarm set 8 hours before. I'd go to bed super early, and that's how I did it. When I left the police and I pursued my my business and the gym and everything else, now what happens is I never really get up with an alarm. I get up about 10 to 6 every morning, regardless. I go to bed about 9:30 every single night. And I'm going to put a little screenshot just there of the data from my Oura ring. And when you look at it, I program this ring essentially to give me athletic performance. That's kind of what I look to do. And it obviously talks you through sleep and whatnot. So it's a great thing. You can use a smartwatch to do the same thing, it doesn't matter. But one thing that really helped me was having a sleep schedule. And I guarantee if you go to bed 8 hours before you're supposed to get up, you're going to feel amazing the next day. Because at the end of the day, sleeping is a massive part of rest and recovery. And if you're tired and not sleeping, then you're going to be a bugger the next day. So number 2 was I train with weights. So when I lost my 20 kilos over about 15 years ago, one of the big things was weight training. So I built up my strength, built up my muscle mass. And when you have more muscle mass on your body, okay, like it means more energy. You're more capable, you're stronger, you can walk around, you can lift things up, and you're not going to be as tired as you if you had less muscle, because when you got less muscle, everything is hard. And when I started resistance training 3 times a week consistently for a long period of time, I was able to increase my muscle mass, increase my energy, and feel like just amazing, right? So the next thing as well, the third thing was I keep a consistent body weight. So when I lost that 20 kilos, okay, I've kept it very similar. I only fluctuate 2 or 3 kilos throughout the whole year. And what I find is when I got a consistent body weight, then I'm not eating too much or dieting. So if you eat too much, you feel sluggish. If you're not eating enough, you haven't got the energy. And it's nice and consistent. So my energy intake is consistent. It works with my current activity levels to do everything I need to do. And that was one of the biggest things for me. When I used to be a yo-yo dieter, it was a nightmare. I'd be up, I'd be tired, I'd be knackered, I'd have no energy, I'd get the shakes, all those sorts of things. But keeping my body weight as sustained, within a range is very hard to keep it bang on the same thing. But in a range that's comfortable for you, for me, it's about 3 kilos. I'll fluctuate throughout the year. It keeps you way more energized than if I'm yo-yo dieting. Big one, number 4 or 5 of that one is going to be reducing alcohol. So I used to be a big drinker. One of my big things was I could drink 10 pints on the weekend and I'd be all good. But these days, very limited. And what happens is when you drink alcohol, it zaps your energy regardless of how you feel about it. And if you have a couple of glasses of wine, it affects the way you sleep, whether you think that or not. And some of you guys over 40 have been pickling for a long time. And what it means is you probably don't even realize what it feels like to wake up sober, right? So when I stopped drinking alcohol, like everything got way better. I wasn't hungover anymore. I had way more energy. And now, like even on a weekend, like I won't even have a glass of wine on a Saturday night if I'm going to be running the next day, because I know it affects my sleep. And even now, the limited alcohol I drink makes me feel bad the next day, right? So there's old saying out there that basically when you drink alcohol, it takes away 2 days, the day you drink and the day after. And if you're like me these days, even 3 or 4 days on the track, you know all those hangovers are like. So really sort of knock down your alcohol if you can, right? Another big one is Coffee. So no drinking coffee past 11 o'clock for me anyway, because coffee has a half-life, okay? Which means, and I'm going to read it because I'll forget it, that if, like for me anyway, if you drink, say, a coffee after about 11 o'clock, say 200 milligrams, then 100 milligrams is still there at 5 or 6 o'clock. And then another 5 hours later, it's going to be 50 milligrams. So it means it stays in your system all the time. So like even if you drink coffee and you feel it doesn't affect your sleep, it actually does. And when you got caffeine in your brain, you know, you just don't settle, you don't relax, okay? And it's a big thing. So big thing for me was I used to be a massive coffee drinker doing shift work. I'd be like drinking 6, 7 coffees a day. I would pull it all back. Definitely wouldn't drink any coffee past 11 o'clock. Massive difference. Took a bit of time though. It wasn't an instant fix. Took a bit of time. But it was a time when I was living on Red Bulls and caffeine and coffees, and like I have 2 a day and I'm done, right? So the other thing then, one of the last tip I've got for you is cardio. So cardio, man, I was never a cardio person. Cardio to me is fairly new in the last 2 or 3 years. But one of the biggest things I did when I started to improve my cardio, my energy levels skyrocketed because my cardiovascular system was working more efficiently, more capacity to do stuff. You know, I wouldn't get tired in the don't get tired in the afternoon anymore, whereas I would have done before, even though all those other things are in place. But ultimately, like it reduces endorphins in your body. You feel better about yourself. It reduces fatigue, builds your stamina, endurance, all those things. And just by doing that cardio regularly makes a massive difference. So how much should you do? Well, I start off with 150 minutes of cardio per week. If you want to start, you know, running or doing triathlons and marathons like me, then you need to do more, of course. But 150 minutes a week is a really great start because most people don't do cardio at all. And if you start to do that for 20 minutes a day, maybe 3 separate hours a week, whatever, you're going to make a massive difference in terms of your energy levels. So I really hope that you know, these tips are helpful for you. They help me massively improve my energy levels. Like I said, there was a time where on the weekends I wouldn't get up before midday, literally because I had no energy to do it. And when I did get up, I was smacking down coffees and Red Bulls and stuff just to stay awake. So, you know, this stuff takes time. It's a journey. It's not instant fix, but stick to these little things here. And I hope it has the same effect for you as it did for me. If you liked the video, found it useful, if you've got any questions, I'll do my best to answer them for you. I'm not a sleep expert. I'm just telling you what worked for me. And hopefully I will see you on the next video. Have an awesome day, team. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.